The hum of the fluorescent lights above was a familiar comfort to Dr. Sarah Thompson as she meticulously recorded her latest findings in her notebook. Her lab, nestled within the sprawling city of New York, had been her sanctuary for years. A virologist by trade, she had dedicated her life to understanding and combating zoonotic diseases, the ones that jumped from animals to humans. It was a routine day when the first signs of trouble emerged. A news bulletin on the television in the corner of her lab caught her eye. Reports of strange animal behavior were coming in from all corners of the globe. Animals, once docile and predictable, were exhibiting unprecedented intelligence and aggression. "Sarah, you need to see this," called Dr. Emily Hargrove, her colleague and closest friend. Emily pointed to the screen, her face pale with concern. "This isn't normal. It's happening everywhere." Sarah watched in disbelief as footage played of birds attacking people in the streets, deer ramming cars, and even domesticated pets turning on their owners. What could be causing this? She wondered aloud. The answer came sooner than expected. Within days, the true cause of the chaos was revealed. Alien ships, sleek and silent, descended from the sky, releasing a strange mist that spread rapidly. The MA virus, as it was later named, had been unleashed upon the world. This virus, unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, infected animals, making them not only intelligent but also aggressive mutants. The outbreak began quietly but soon spiraled out of control. Cities were thrown into chaos as the mutated animals turned on their human counterparts with calculated ferocity. Sarah and Emily worked around the clock, analyzing samples and trying to understand the virus's mechanisms. One evening, as Sarah was about to leave the lab, her phone rang. It was her brother, Liam. "Sarah, you need to get out of the city," he urged, panic evident in his voice. "It's spreading faster than we thought. We're heading to the old family cabin in the woods. It's safer there." Sarah's mind raced. The cabin was isolated, a perfect place to regroup and strategize. "I'll meet you there," she said, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her heart. She quickly gathered her research and essential supplies, ready to make the dangerous journey out of the city. The roads were a nightmare, clogged with cars and panicked people trying to escape. Sarah drove with laser focus, avoiding collisions and navigating through back roads whenever possible. The city, once vibrant and alive, was now a war zone. She saw flashes of chaos, mutated animals attacking anyone in sight, fires burning unchecked, and the eerie glow of the alien ships in the sky. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she reached the cabin. Liam, along with a few other survivors, greeted her with relieved smiles. "We're safe for now," he said, hugging her tightly, "but we need to figure out what's happening and how to stop it." As they settled in, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The true battle was just starting, and humanity's survival hinged on their ability to understand and counter the alien threat. Major Ethan Carter stood at the front of the hastily assembled command center, his eyes scanning the room filled with military personnel and civilian volunteers. The atmosphere was tense, the air thick with the weight of impending doom. Reports of the MA virus had escalated quickly, and the initial attempts to contain it had failed disastrously. "Listen up," Major Carter began, his voice firm and authoritative. "We're dealing with an unprecedented situation. The aliens have released a virus that's turning animals into intelligent, aggressive mutants. Our primary objective is to protect civilians and find a way to stop this virus." The room buzzed with activity as plans were made, resources allocated, and teams dispatched to hot zones. Major Carter knew they were fighting an uphill battle. The mutants were not only dangerous but highly intelligent, often outmaneuvering the military forces sent to combat them. The fall of cities was swift and brutal. New York, once a bustling metropolis, was now a landscape of fear and destruction. Mutants roamed the streets, hunting humans with terrifying precision. The military struggled to hold the line, but the sheer number and ferocity of the mutants made it nearly impossible. Amidst this chaos, Sarah and her group arrived at the family cabin. It was a modest structure, nestled deep in the woods, far from the prying eyes of both humans and mutants. Liam had managed to stockpile supplies, and the group quickly set up a makeshift camp. The initial days were a blur of survival and adaptation. The group faced constant threats from wandering mutants and the ever-present fear of discovery. Despite this, they began to bond, sharing their stories and pooling their skills to create a semblance of safety. Nina Patel emerged as a natural leader among the survivors. A survivalist with extensive knowledge of tracking and hunting, she taught the group how to defend themselves and navigate the treacherous new world. "We need to..." At the cabin, life settled into a precarious rhythm. Dr. Sarah Thompson's research lab was now a corner of the cabin, filled with makeshift equipment and hastily gathered supplies. Every day, she worked tirelessly to understand the MA virus. She dissected samples, ran tests, and documented every observation, her mind constantly churning with ideas and possibilities. The survivors at the cabin formed a tight-knit community. Major Ethan Carter Whitaker organized regular patrols and drills, ensuring everyone was prepared for an attack. Nina Patel led foraging expeditions, teaching the group how to find food and avoid danger in the wild. Liam Jackson, with his technical expertise, rigged up a rudimentary communication system, allowing them to monitor any transmissions from other survivors or military forces. One evening, as they gathered around the campfire, Sarah shared a breakthrough. "I've noticed something interesting in the virus's structure," she said, holding up a notebook filled with notes and diagrams. "It appears to be highly adaptable, but there might be a way to exploit its weaknesses." The group listened intently as she explained her findings. The virus had a unique protein that allowed it to rapidly alter the host's DNA, but it also had a critical vulnerability, a dependency on specific environmental conditions. If they could disrupt these conditions, they might be able to halt the virus's progression. "We need to test this theory," Major Carter said, his eyes gleaming with determination. "But we can't do it alone. We need to find other survivors, other scientists who can help us." Chapter 4. The turning point days turned into weeks as the group worked to refine Sarah's theory. They conducted experiments, gathering data and refining their approach. The forest around the cabin became both their sanctuary and their battleground, as they faced off against increasingly cunning mutants. One day, during a routine patrol, Major Carter and Nina stumbled upon a group of survivors holed up in an abandoned farmhouse. Among them was Dr. Alan Whitaker, a renowned geneticist who had been working on a similar theory about the virus. The two groups quickly merged, pooling their resources and knowledge. Dr. Whitaker's insights proved invaluable. He confirmed Sarah's findings and suggested a method to disrupt the virus's protein structure using a targeted frequency of sound waves. "If we can create a device to emit this frequency," he explained, "we could potentially neutralize the virus in the infected animals." The plan was risky, but it was their best hope. Liam and the other tech-savvy members of the group worked day and night to build the device, using whatever materials they could scavenge. As they neared completion, the mutants grew more aggressive, launching coordinated attacks on their encampment. Despite the constant threat, the group's morale remained high. They had a purpose, a goal to strive for, and they were determined to see it through. The device, dubbed the MA Neutralizer, was finally ready for testing. Chapter 5. Betrayal. The group decided to test the MA Neutralizer on a nearby mutant nest. Major Carter led a small team, including Sarah, Nina, and Dr. Whitaker, to the nest's location. The tension was palpable as they approached, every rustle of leaves and distant growl setting their nerves on edge. As they activated the device, the sound waves emitted a low hum that grew in intensity. The mutants reacted immediately, writhing and convulsing as the sound waves disrupted the virus within them. It was working. The mutants began to revert, their aggression subsiding and their intelligence waning. But just as hope soared, disaster struck. One of their own, a man named Greg, who had been with them from the beginning, betrayed them. Driven by fear and promises of safety from the aliens, he had secretly sabotaged the device. As it sputtered and failed, the mutants rallied, launching a ferocious counterattack. The day of the final battle arrived. The resistance fighters gathered at a strategic location near a major mutant nest, ready to deploy the MA Neutralizer and the antiviral compound. Major Carter, Sarah, Nina, Liam, and the rest of the group stood at the forefront, their faces set with determination. The plan was simple but dangerous. Create a diversion to draw the mutants away from the nest, then deploy the cure. As the fighters engaged the mutants, Sarah and Liam worked quickly to set up the MA Neutralizer and distribute the antiviral compound. The battle was intense, with mutants swarming from all directions. The fighters held their ground, using ever-resistance fighters pressed their advantage, reclaiming the area and securing a hard-won victory. Cheers of triumph and relief echoed through the air as the realization set in. They had done it.